Ladies and gentlemen.
My name is Doug Smith. I'm the Vice President of Product Support at the Enstrom Helicopter Corporation. I want to welcome you to the inside of our 480B here at European Rotors 2025. What we're sitting in here is a 480B signature model helicopter. The signature means is it's got the glass panel installation, the new glass panel installation for the 480B. We're using a Howell engine information system with a Howell dual tachometer, a Garmin G500 TXI display, interfaced with a Garmin GTN 750 TXI and a Garmin 225 comm radio. So again, this is our glass panel installation, basically bringing the helicopter up to the current industry standards as far as glass panels go and everything. It's really interesting unit to fly because, again, you can dual screen between having a primary flight display and a multi-purpose flight display, because this is linked to the 750 between the two, so you can have different functions within the 750 or within the 500 displayed, or you can actually, if you want to, you can just go to a full display on your 500. So makes it really, really interesting for the pilot, again, to be able to do those things. Again, digital engine instrument display, providing all the engine information, the caution advisory system, giving you your warnings, cautions, and information. The nice thing about these two systems is that they have reversionary modes, so that if you have a failure of one of the systems, you can actually get the information onto the full information on the other system. So for instance, if our dual tachometer fails, we can hit the reversionary mode on this one, and now we have our tachometer, our NR and NR2 indication over here. Or if we have a failure on this system, then we hit reversionary mode on this, and it provides the essential information we have here, so we again continue our flight until we go ahead and land. So pretty nice information available here. Of course, it's Garmin system here for the 750 and the XI, so it's got all of the bells and whistles within their flight planning approaches, all of that good stuff. Easily being adaptable so if you're used to using Garmin, you can pick up on this. Right now we are in the process of having an autopilot certified. We expect autopilot certification in the first quarter of 2026, and then we are working on certification of an air conditioning system for this helicopter also. So this helicopter is basically used for primary flight training. We've had a lot of success in foreign militaries using this for primary flight training. Japan, Thailand, also the Czech Republic is using these for primary flight training for the military forces. We also, for private ownership, law enforcement, we've had them in place with law enforcement agencies, and then, like I said, private ownership. So Enstrom itself we've had some major certification projects in works, which has kind of limited our availability for production and sales of the aircraft. But the good news is we now have FAA certification of our crash-resistant fuel system on the 480B. We're expecting EASA certification to follow up within the next 2 weeks of this, which allows us to then be able to sell domestically in the United States and actually deliver helicopters to Europe, again with the crash-resistant fuel system. So that's kind of where Enstrom's at. We're going to do a follow-on CRFS with our 280FX and F-28, our piston models that we still build. And so again, things are looking up. It's been a Kind of a slow road for the certifications and everything, but things are really starting to look up now for Enstrom, for both the domestic market in the United States and here in Europe, because now we can actually sell helicopters into Europe. So that's kind of our status, and that's where we're at.
Before that, you can sell helicopters to Europe?
Because of
through agencies. No?
What? Well, because of that, EASA now has the requirement for the crash-resistant fuel systems on any new helicopters or any helicopters coming into Europe. And
just Europe, not in America. You don't need that?
Well, in America, that was the original requirement, was in the United States. So domestically, we can build helicopters because they still meet our type design with our old system, but it's not a design requirement. It was an operational requirement mandated by Congress. And so even though the type design was okay, but because it didn't have crash-resistant fuel systems, we weren't able to actually get a standard airworthiness certificate. If you don't have a standard airworthiness certificate, it makes it very difficult to sell a helicopter in the United States. Okay. All right, so talk a little bit about the interior of this helicopter right here specifically. So again, this is our mid-range 480B called the Signature, but the interior itself is the top of the line interior, and the upholstery work is actually done by a company called Generation Global, located in New Zealand. Enstrom itself, we manufacture all the seat buckets, the seat structure, all of the seat components themselves. But Generation Global does the upholstery, and they do a tremendous job on the upholstery here. You can look at some of the stitch work that's done there. And again, they have on their website. It's actually you can fully select the type of stitching you want, the colors you want, all of that stuff, and they do phenomenal work in generating these upholstery systems, the trim out for the doors, like I said, the upholstery on the seats and everything. So yeah, they do a fantastic job for us. Unique things about the 480B is the fact that the cockpit here, the seating arrangement is very modular. So as it's set up right now, it's set up for a pilot, a passenger, co-pilot, instructor, observer, whatever. So basically you have two sets of flight controls. You can have two pilots and a passenger observer. Well, we can also set this aircraft up to hold a pilot and 4 passengers, and the way we do that is we simply remove the set of flight controls. So I'm going to go ahead and the electrical harness is already disconnected, but I'm going to go ahead and remove the cyclic stick, pull the cyclic stick out. I'm going to set this outside. We remove the collective stick. Comes out. We remove the pedals. Now I already have the footwell installed. So there's a footwell installed up here, because what happens then is we remove this seat from this set of seat tracks and install it on this set of seat tracks. Okay? And then we have a third bench seat. You bring this bench seat down. There we go. And we install a seat cushion. And now you have an aircraft configured for a pilot, passenger sitting up front, and the three passengers on the bench seat. So another configuration could be is if you didn't need 4, you could actually take this seat out. And now, for your 3-place bench seat, you look at all the room you have here, okay? And so again, I mean, the visibility is phenomenal. The room is incredible, but you even have one more configuration you can do after that, and that is to actually take these cushions out. Take this one out. And fold both benches up. And now you have a big cargo floor. Because you've got seat rails here, you can put a piece of bigger cargo here, okay, and strap it down. So again, it's just another configuration that you can do with the 480B.
You can do something more.
Yep, you can do something more. Okay, so the engine installation on the 480B, we use a Rolls-Royce 250 C20W model engine, very similar to the engines that are installed in Bell Jet Rangers or MD-500s. We use a belt drive system. Most helicopters that are belt driven have multiple belts. Ours is a single piece belt. It's a 30 rib micro V. The engine itself produces 420 shaft horsepower. We're torque limited to about 315 as our 5-minute torque limit, and then about I want to say it's about 290, 295 for max continuous available on the horsepower from the aircraft. So the engine itself is 420. It's a lot of times they mention it's like, well, the engine's derated. No, the engine's not derated. It'll produce 420 horsepower. We are torque limited to the gearbox. So one of the unique things about that is if you really need it, you can pull it. You're going to have to do a gearbox inspection or maybe replace the gearbox depending upon how much you pull. But again, it's available to do that. So again, the configuration of this engine is exhaust down. That's what the C20W model is exhaust down configuration. But other than that, it's a standard Rolls-Royce 250 C20 engine. So if you can work on a Bell Jet Ranger or an MD-500 engine, same engine. So question about the antenna configuration on the helicopter. So our top antenna we have here from Comant. This is a combined VHF GPS antenna. This is your COM1 radio hooked in with your GPS, which is your Garmin GTN 750 TXI. Then down here on the bottom, this is also from Comant. This is our COM2 antenna VHF, which is tied to our Garmin 225 COM radio. Actually, it's a 255. Well, actually 225. Yep. Then we have our towel bar nav antennas. This is your VOR antenna. Again, feeding into the Garmin GTN 750 TXI. And then also because it has a marker beacon, we have a marker beacon antenna located down below here also. So that's what's on the tail. And then on top of the cabin, we have our ELT antenna located up there for our Canard ELT, Integra ELT. And then on the front of the helicopter, we have a couple of transponder antennas. This aircraft is equipped with a Garmin GTX 345R remotely located. And so we have a GPS antenna underneath right there for our ADS-B in and out.